there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I had today. Time gone by, I've traded black dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning, Robinson County. What you doing? This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Hugh Laverne. This is one street over, a brand new week as we head on into December. We are just rolling like a steamroller right into December. Are you ready for Christmas? Right? Oh my goodness, Christmas. My Christmas will actually be here with my family on the 17th. We get together. We don't get together on Christmas Day. I mean, we do, but it's scattered. We get the whole family together on a different day because, I mean, I've got 4 boys, 3 of them are married, I've got 3 grandkids, and as your family expands, that's what you do. And so we've got Christmas coming up very quickly. So, I mean, I've got to get shopping done. And then today is my sweet husband's birthday. He is having a big birthday today. And yes, this is my birthday week too. Mine is on Thursday. I'm turning the big 60. We went and saw Tommy Marsh's. His birthday is tomorrow. We went over and saw him play for a little bit on Saturday night. He had his 60th birthday bash, and I got together with my kiddos yesterday, and we had just a wonderful day. So primarily celebrating my upcoming 60, because that's a big one, but they were also celebrating my husband, whose birthday is today. You know how you do these things, right? So anyway, happy birthday, Mark Vivio. I hope you have a fabulous day. I managed to not call you when the car was broken down earlier today. Just letting you know, I managed to get it going. You know how you leave something on in your car and you come out and the battery's dead? That's how my morning started this morning. So Mark actually offered to crank the car and get it warmed up and then, shut it off at about 5 a.m. And I was like, oh, I've got it, honey. You go on. Happy birthday. So I come out, quarter after, and I think, I probably need to warm the car about 15 after 6. Dead. So I have a battery charger in the barn. I'm thinking, And then Blaine Kellar is on with me here. Hi, I'm gonna say hi to you before I continue to go through my little outline.
Great story on Monday.
Yeah, I know.
Here.
So I hear from him and Jamie, their family's got the flu, so he's not coming. So Blaine's coming, and he's with Robertson County Connection, so we're gonna talk sports. And I said, okay, I live 2 miles from the radio station. Blaine, do you mind coming and giving me a lift? And of course I could call ILU, because I live near, I could almost walk here. I really could. And I said, but I've got an idea. So I've got this Yukon that's the transmission's out in. But I'm like, it's got a brand new battery on it. So if I could get it to limp over to my car that's dead, could I possibly jump this car with the one that's the transmission out of? I managed to get that done. Thank you very much. That's the farm girl in me. I'm like,
round of applause.
Thank you. But that's the farm girl in me. We don't go, somebody needs to come rescue me. No. I got it. And I appreciate you being willing to if I couldn't figure out a solution, because I thought, okay, if I have to go get the battery charger out, that takes a minute because you got to plug it in. It takes a minute to even get enough charge. So I thought I might be able to get it cranked. But then I knew I had that brand new battery on that Yukon that, I thought if I can just get it over to my car, and managed to do it. So
one way or another, you got here.
I got here. Happy Monday. And my car is backed into the parking space. So if I need another jump, because once you jump them off, sometimes it takes a minute for the battery to charge back up. Happy Monday. Happy birthday, honey. It's just been crazy. Spent the day with my family yesterday and celebrating birthdays. And so, it's just going to be a crazy week. I see it coming already. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Laverne?
Well, you heard.
Yeah, right. I did hear it. Yeah,
you got the story.
Heard, yeah.
It's been kind of a wild Monday already.
My Monday has not been as wild as yours.
That's okay. Just wait. You're young. You'll have stories to tell as we get going. So did you have a good Thanksgiving? Have I seen you since Thanksgiving? I don't think
so. No. Yeah, no. Pretty good Thanksgiving.
Good.
Spend time with my wife's family. Spend time with my family.
Oh, so you're still splitting the difference there, huh?
We got kind of lucky. Normally what we like to do, we've been dating for a long time, so we've got the holidays figured out.
Okay.
We would split Thanksgiving, 1 year at her family's, 1 year at mine. And then for Christmas, my family celebrates on Christmas Eve.
Oh, that's good.
So makes things really easy since everybody else in America celebrates on Christmas Day, like normal people.
Yeah.
So,
that's good.
Yeah, this year was supposed to be just Savannah's family for Thanksgiving. But they ended up doing something a couple of days early. And then Savannah said, well, might as well be able to go to both then. So then I got double helpings of Thanksgiving leftovers. So
oh, there you go. It's fun. And that's what you have to do. When your family grows, you have to be willing to say, okay, let's make some adjustments. It's just a day. I mean, it's like, well, but I don't know that I will ever have my whole crew. I can't imagine the circumstances to get my crew back at my house on Christmas Day ever again, because I've got 4 kids. I've got one who's married to a girl from Kansas, and then I've got one that's it's just there's family everywhere, and what a blessing that is. When you start going, oh, but we got to go here, we got to go there, and you start stressing over that, and I'm going to get heavy for a minute. I want you to think about the people who have no one. Having worked in benevolence and worked in ministry and things like that, I'm going to tell you something, folks. If you are blessed to have an abundant family and you're just wringing your hands about, oh, well, I don't get them on Christmas Day, or I don't get them on Thanksgiving Day, and I don't get to do this and don't get to do that. Praise the Lord that you have that many people that love your loved ones. I mean, seriously. Yeah. Praise God for that. And lean into that, dear, because this is a weird time, because a lot of people, they fight and they get their feelings hurt and all that kind of stuff. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Be family and love each other, and just be proud that you've got so many that love the people who you love. I'll get off my soapbox now. Happy birthday, honey. And we're going to be out celebrating our birthdays all week. So look for us downtown. I'm going to try to come to Etta Ray's on Thursday night. I want to go. And you haven't been there. So I haven't been either. No. And they're going to do horse-drawn carriage rides. I'm going to try my best to get one of those rides, but it's going to be first come, first serve downtown. Right. So I'm going to try, but we'll see. But yeah, crazy week. So what are you up to?
Well, it's a crazy week sports-wise, too.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and kick off with the big thing happening this Friday, the Tennessee East-West All-Star Classic.
Oh, football.
Football held annually at Austin Peay. Got a couple of Robertson County guys competing in that. Just kind of like the Senior Bowl, if you know of that.
That microphone down to you a little bit more, if you don't mind.
Kind of the Senior Bowl, if you know that. On the college game, this is a similar situation. Last year they had, I believe the Robertson County area just had 2 athletes total. It was Martavius Johnson for Springfield, then Raymond Blackburn for White House last year. Mm-hmm. Here's a list of guys competing, barring any changes going up into this week. You've got Devin Crenshaw for Springfield. That's a quarterback. Kicker Logan Leftrick will be on the roster as well for Springfield. For East Robertson, you've got 2 guys in Sean Groves and Zach Prince. And then Greenbrier linebacker or defensive lineman Nathan Robinson, who's committed to Tennessee. All of those guys will be competing this week. I don't think I'm leaving anybody off, but 5 guys competing on a whole roster, it was actually pretty impressive. There's not, you don't normally get that many guys from Robertson County. So
Who was the one that's committed to Tennessee?
Nathan Robinson.
From
Greenbrier.
That's our Greenbrier guy. That's what I thought. See, I'm learning. They're like, Laverne, yes, that's him. But it's like I see him all the time.
He sticks out. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I see him all the time. He's in Coach White's class a lot, and I see him, but I don't really know him. I just know, well, that's the guy. So yeah, well, very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, that one's always a really fun event. I was there last year covering it, just the game in of itself, and you get to see some of the state's best senior talent.
Yeah.
And you couldn't ask for much better than that. They fluctuate the guys. Everybody's going to get some playing time on Friday. What I think is going to be really interesting is that they have Crenshaw, one of the state's top quarterbacks, in my opinion, listed as an athlete and a long snapper. So I'm not really sure which position they're going to have him play outside of special teams. But, they've already got 2 quarterbacks on the roster for that western side, and Ryan Dameron and Kobe Walden.
Okay. See, my kid got to play, one of my boys got to play in the East-West game. I don't know if you know Benji Cunningham that came out of...
Before my time.
Yeah. But him and Benji were playing on Good Pasture and playing at Good Pasture and got to go to the East-West game. So that was fun for the family. So, yeah, we're getting old. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, because my twins are in their 30s. Good heavens. All right, so that's exciting. Good stuff. And I'm so excited for these talented kids that are getting to go to that. Because, that's just... My son still has his jersey.
Oh, yeah?
That's a keepsake. So he still has his jersey. And,
it'll be a busy week for one of them in Zach Prince, one of the running backs I mentioned from East Robertson. Not only will he have that on Friday, but on Wednesday he'll be at Nissan Stadium to figure out if he will be named a Class 2A Mr. Football.
Ooh, is that this Wednesday?
That is this Wednesday.
Ooh, how exciting.
He was named one of 3 finalists, I believe, 2 weeks ago, just before Thanksgiving. He's joined by Fairley's Jaquan Davis, who tied the state record in interceptions this year, and Tyner Academy quarterback Joshua Jackson, who had an incredible season, led his team to the state championship, and actually beat East Robertson at home in the quarterfinals. So he might have, out of the 3 guys, I think Zach might have an outsider's chance of getting it. But at very least, it was a historic season for East Robertson and a historic season for Zach Prince, too. So good to see him getting what he deserves, that kind of love.
Wouldn't that be awesome, though, if he won that? Oh, that'd be so... Jamie mentioned that when he was on... We had him on last Thursday, just kind of giving a recap, and he mentioned that. And so, very cool. Yeah, I didn't realize it was coming up so quickly. So Wednesday's the day. Y'all got to let me know. Y'all message me or something and let me know, because it'll go right over my head otherwise. And Jamie should be on Thursday, so he'll let us know.
For sure.
So
it sneaks up on you, too.
Yeah. So.
And just to kind of recap the season that Zach had, 1,818 rushing yards. That's 9th most in the state of Tennessee. 28 rushing touchdowns, 171 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. That's over 2,000 all-purpose yards and 31 touchdowns. Then on defense, 36 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 6 forced fumbles and a fumble recovery. Also had a kickoff return touchdown. He was one of the state's best, and he's getting that recognition on Wednesday.
Outstanding. So exciting. Good times. I mean, in having kids that have played through, it's fun, the season and all that, but when you get one that stands out and gets that recognition, that's just something special. So, like I said, my son still has his jersey. Still has his jersey. It's a keepsake. And so it's just good memories. Good stuff. Very good. So, as far as football in general, though, we had all the state championships and all of that?
Yeah,
are we done with all that?
That wrapped this weekend.
So what happened?
Let's see.
Do you have all that info? I'm putting you on the spot.
Pull that up really quick.
Well, I'll tell you what we can do is, while you're doing that, why don't I go ahead and do a commercial?
Yeah,
Let me do one of my ads while he pulls up some of the recap for the state. And let's start with Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. My friends in real estate, oh my goodness, what are you doing? Are you needing to buy or sell? Is it time to put that property up for sale that maybe has been in the family a while? A lot of people are considering that right now, simply because they're like, man, this is a hot area. Everybody's wanting to move here. I've got all kinds of friends that I've met that are newbies to the county, that are coming from other states. They see what we have going on here, and they're like, man, I want to be a part of that. So there's a lot to consider in the real estate community, whether you're buying or selling. Now, if you're coming as a buyer to the table, things have changed in the last year because interest rates have really shot up there, and that's going to affect how much house you can buy. It's going to affect what kind of loan you can get, and you have to consider that. So it's still a great opportunity to get out there and purchase a home. I have my daughter-in-law's sister just bought a house, and I'm so excited for anybody that becomes first-time homeowners because it's a big deal. It's exciting. It's a great investment. And if you want to learn more about having a great couple that will just walk you through the process no matter what side of the table you're sitting on, or maybe you want to become a realtor, maybe that's something that has kind of bit you a little bit, and you got the real estate bug and you're thinking, maybe this is something I can do part-time. Maybe you're wanting a career change. Rebecca came out of a radiology career. Barry came out of a marketing career. He was the vice president of a media marketing company for 17 years. And they just got interested in it. Next thing you know, they're doing it full-time. Rebecca's been at this a long time, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line up in Kentucky. Do you want to know more? Of course you do. Contact them at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or by BUYRobertsonCounty.com. Or give them a call at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Always please let them know that you turned in. Talking with Blaine Kellar. He is my guest in the studio. He is with Robertson County Connection, and he is their sports editor, writer. What is exactly your title?
Technically sports reporter, but I also do the editing.
Okay. I kind of figured when you got papers, local community papers like that, everything.
Yeah, it's a one-man job.
So, are you full-time?
I am, yes.
Very cool. I think we maybe had this conversation when you first, got into this, but how did you get bit by this bug? Because I got bit by the broadcasting bug in college. There's a story that goes along with it. We're not going to go into that, but there's always a path. How did you end up here? How did you end up with this?
Yeah, mine was similar. Whenever I went into college, I wanted to be in sports broadcasting and do something similar to this, maybe some play-by-play or maybe something on the radio. And, the doors just never really opened for it. They are kind of now, which is funny. But
isn't that fun?
I just got an opportunity with Terrence Summers and Social Dweebs at Springfield about three years ago, I'd say, just doing some small minor stuff for them and their social media team. And then I met the former sports reporter for the Robertson County Connection, Russell Venozzi.
Right.
We made a connection there. I started freelancing, and 2 years later, I just got the job after Joel Klinger, our former sports reporter, decided to step down and pursue other opportunities. So.
Very cool. It's fun. It's always fun to hear those journeys because this is the media. Any kind of a media job is a tough one to get, and because there's a lot of people want to do it. And I tell my students, because I'm teaching audio video now, it's got to be a passion for you, and it's probably going to be a hobby at some point, and then it might build into a full-time career. But I just do it part-time now because, like you said, you just don't have you just never know what's going to open. It's wonderful. The point is, it's wonderful that you're getting to do this full-time.
I agree.
Because that's unique. It's unique these days. So very cool. I love hearing those stories. So, all right, where were we going to go? We were going to recap what happened with the state tournaments.
Yep,
right.
The Blue Cross Bowl in Chattanooga this year, second time that they've had it since last year. Last year was the first year they introduced it there after being at Cookeville for so long.
Forever, yeah.
And, not a great showing for mid-state teams in Middle Tennessee. I believe outside of the private school circuit, only one mid-state school won. And we'll kind of break down those scores here, starting with 1A in the small school division. McKenzie 34, Clay County 14. It's kind of interest to Joe Burns fans because Clay County is in the same region as Joe Burns in that 4-team slot. So interesting to see Clay County make it that far, but McKenzie gets a nice title, after failing to win it last year. Tyner Academy, the team that we mentioned that beat East Robertson in the quarterfinals in 2A, beat Riverside 26-24. I don't think anybody was going to top Tyner in 2A. It was a really, really strong squad if you ever saw them play. If anybody had a really good shot before Riverside, it was probably East Robertson, but Tyner made sure that wasn't much of a game.
Right.
On the 3A side, Alcoa with its 8th, I want to say, straight championship with a 45-26 decision over East Nashville. East Nashville with back-to-back state championship appearances, but can't get over the Alcoa hump.
Alcoa is one that was always the one that was our nemesis with Good Pasture.
Yeah.
When we would go to state, it was always Alcoa. Always Alcoa. And, I mean, there's a lot that could be said about that because they kind of recruit.
Yeah.
You know, that's what's always been said of them. I don't know if you've heard that, but there's a lot of, unless you're from Alcoa, you do not like them because there's a lot said about how they bring students in, and there's a lot of people who don't think it's right that they do it that way.
Here's the thing I think, ultimately.
Yeah.
If another school had won 8 straight championships, someone else would find something to not like about that school.
True that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, say what you want about whatever they've done or not done, they've still won the titles.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Patriots and the Golden State Warriors. It's a dynasty.
Truth, but see, I'm coming from the stands, having had to face Alcoa a few times with my kids. Because they made it to those state games, and Alcoa. Anyway,
moving on to
I had that name just rang a bell with me. I'm like,
brought back flashbacks.
Yeah,
or something.
for sure.
Moving on to 4A, Anderson County finishes off a perfect season, 15-0, with a 34-30 win over Pearl Cone. Pearl Cone, I believe, jumped out to a 14-0 lead in that one and just couldn't put them away. Anderson County had a really good team this season. I believe Walker Martinez, their quarterback, was a guy to watch out for. In 5A, Knoxville West beats Page 47-13. Springfield fans might be interested in that one. Page beat Henry County in the semifinals, and Henry County beat Springfield in the quarterfinals. So, you know, sometimes you can look at these brackets and say, oh, if East Robertson had beaten Tyner, there might have been a chance of them winning a championship. This one, not so much.
Okay.
You know, that 5A bracket was loaded. And if Springfield had finished off the job against Henry County, I'm not sure if they're able to best Page. But if they're not able to best Page, they're nowhere close to Knoxville West, who just had a magical season this year. Then looking at 6A, Oakland defeats Beach 42-6 for its third straight championship. That's the first time in Tennessee high school football history that a team has won 3 straight championships in Oakland.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just pure dominance on their
see, and
side.
I know a lot of people from Beach, and they were super excited. But that was a rough.
Some
game.
people thought it was going to be a close one. You know, some people thought that because Beach had a similar style as Oakland, that they were both run-heavy teams, that they would maybe make it a low-scoring game and find a way to, you know, keep it within a possession or two, which is all you can ask for against Oakland.
Right.
Didn't happen.
Oh. So there you go.
Then you got the private school side, which fared better for Nashville area schools. Friendship Christian 34, a winner over Nashville Christian 34-27. It's a really good season for Friendship Christian. I'm not even sure if they lost a game this year, but Wilson County team winning a title this year. Lipscomb Academy beats CPA 42-0. As their head coach Trent Dilfer walks out the door and goes to the University of Alabama at Birmingham.
Oh, wow.
A bit interesting there.
Yeah, I know those people. So
yeah, so kind of interesting to see that news break just before the championship, and then Lipscomb Academy still finds a way to steamroll in that one. You know, players might find a way to be impacted mentally by that one. Yeah. Whenever you hear your coach is walking out the door, but it's an interesting hire for UAB, and a lot of those Lipscomb Academy players are now getting recruited by
I can imagine.
by the Blazers. So that's not coincidental.
That's interesting. And the fact that they just kind of steamrolled CPA, that's another one I don't like.
Yeah.
Because they gave us a lot of trouble too. You know, we had the big rivalry between Lipscomb and Good Pasture, but CPA, Alcoa,
Yeah, no, CPA,
no.
CPA, and that's no knock against CPA. CPA is a really good football team.
Yeah.
Just Lipscomb Academy found a way to create one of the best rosters in high school football, period. You know, nationwide. This was an incredible roster.
Very cool, very cool.
And the last game in Division II AAA, Baylor upsets NBA 38-34.
Okay.
On a little bit of a controversial call. It's a 4-point game, and early on in the contest, Baylor gets a reception, at midfield. Player runs across, gets to the end zone, but before he's knocked out, an NBA player punches the ball out. Which, if the ball doesn't cross the plane, it's a fumble.
Right.
Line judge is right in front of the play that happens, but doesn't call it a fumble, calls it a touchdown.
Ooh.
Despite, I mean, you could look at, there's a lot of stuff on Twitter right now. I mean, our company, Main Street Preps, one of our reporters, Tyler Palmatier, took a really good video of it and really slowed it down so you could see the ball does not cross the plane. So Baylor really snuck away with a 4-point win from a touchdown that really shouldn't have
gotten.
Yeah, kind of controversial there.
Oh, more than kinda. If you're from the other side, you're having a fit right now. But I mean, it's just the way it happens.
Yeah, there's no instant replay in Tennessee high school football.
Wow.
Most high school footballs probably don't have an instant replay in the first place. But
that's interesting.
Tough way to see your season end.
Yeah. Oh, that's rough. That's rough. Interesting stuff. So do you watch all these games? You sound like you watch every single one of them.
I spend a little too much time on Twitter, and I'll watch kind of that way. I'll follow what's happening.
Oh, I gotcha.
I spent a lot of time doing that this weekend, but no, I mean, I think the only game I saw live was Lipscomb Academy CPA, and that was the first game of the slates there.
Yeah.
I think I maybe watched the last 30 minutes of it, but everything else kind of just straight off Twitter.
Okay, so you just get the reviews because, I mean, we're such a social media driven. That's why that's one of the things when it comes back to what we're doing at Greenbrier with the audio video class is just trying to remind the students that it's everywhere. Audio video is everywhere now, and I don't care what you do. It is something that you need to touch and bring into some aspect of your profession because it's just there. And so, I mean, because all those fans that are tweeting and so is that the best medium for staying up to date then on sports? Is the Twitter world versus anything else?
I'd say high school wise, definitely.
Really?
I think you could get away maybe professionally or even in the college game looking at Facebook or maybe even Instagram. Or, some reporters use TikTok too, which I'm still trying to figure that one out a little bit. But, I'd say a lot of sports reporters, especially at the high school level, rely on Twitter to convey a lot of their information. Interesting.
Because I've never really embraced Twitter. I've never been able. It's kind of like you're trying to figure out TikTok. I just can't get. And I've got a lot of friends that just are. Oh, they're inundated. I mean, they're constantly on Twitter. And a couple of my friends from the Blaze they're just all over the place on Twitter. And I've tried to figure it out a couple of times and I just can't get on fire with it. But anyway, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So how many followers do you have on Twitter?
I actually, this weekend, not to boast or anything, hit 1,000.
Good for you. So, there you go.
I'm on
that's the key.
In the totem pole of our sports reporters at Main Street Preps, I think I am next to last, if not last. But
you'll build.
I'm getting there.
Yeah,
slowly but surely.
That's great. I met a kid when I was running for Congress. I met some kid that had something like 50,000.
Golly.
I mean, some little bitty kid. And it was like it was insane. And what had happened is they had put some kind of a tweet out that was just cute and everybody shared it. Everybody shared it.
Yeah.
And then they started following this kid. And his parents were like, I don't know. But he had all these followers. It was just nuts. He had so many followers, but it was just a fluke kind of thing. It was really strange. But anyway, we're talking with Blaine Kellar. He is with Robertson County Connection. Now, so are you specifically Robertson County Connection, or are you for the group of papers that work?
Well, technically both.
Okay.
My main role is with Robertson County and high school sports in Robertson County.
Okay.
But let's say, for example, Portland comes to town and plays Springfield in basketball.
Okay.
And wins.
Okay.
Well, it'd be a lot better for our, Portland Sun paper if I wrote a story that was kind of centered around Portland winning as opposed to Springfield losing or something like that.
Gotcha.
So under the umbrella, I am under Main Street Media and Main Street Preps. But more times than not, I'm writing about Robertson County sports.
Okay, very good. And so as we're kind of talking and unpacking all this is if you're just kind of wondering what's going on with the sports thing, this is something we've been really hoping to do for a while. So on the first Monday of the month, that is when we are the entire hour sports. Usually Jamie will be in here. They've got the flu, and so Blaine consented to come in and you were already on schedule to be here with him. And a lot of the times he'll bring somebody with him on that Monday. Now, with that said, so that's the first Monday, but then every Thursday morning from 7 to 7:30, we're just going to get an update on what's going on in the county because there's always something going on. I was talking to one of my students the other day hey, Melvis, he's a wrestler. And I said something about the wrestling season and the different things. He goes, nobody cares about wrestling. And I said, well, we need to do something about that. That's what this, what we're doing in audio video. So you're a wrestler. Let's write some stuff. Let's do some, let's produce some stuff about the wrestling team. And that's what we want to do is we of course, we want to cover football and basketball and baseball. But what about all the other stuff that's going on?
Right.
And so what would you say? What are some of the other sports that are out there other than the ones I just mentioned? We know football, basketball, baseball. What else have we got that we need to cover?
Well, wrestling's just kicking off right now.
Right. Right.
During the winter, it's honestly the least hectic amount of time. You've just got girls basketball, boys basketball, and wrestling.
Okay.
Those are the three. And then, that's something that we try to do at the Connection as well. During the fall season, it's not just football, as you mentioned. It's also girls soccer. It's also track and field. Track and field in the spring.
Yeah.
Cross country in the fall.
Okay.
It's volleyball in the fall as well. I was struggling to think of that third one for a second.
Is it only women that play volleyball, or do they have men's leagues?
One high school team in Robertson County, Day Spring Academy, that plays a boys volleyball schedule. They played their first season this year. It was the first time since 2017 that anyone in Middle Tennessee had played boys volleyball.
I think it makes sense. I've never been much of a volleyball player, but now there's a lot of adult leagues around.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, those boys throw it down.
Yeah.
They get vicious out there. And so I think it'd be a lot of fun to watch. The girls too, but I find volleyball interesting. It is. It's exciting.
It's a growing sport.
Yeah.
Especially on the West Coast. One of Tennessee's incoming quarterbacks for the Volunteers, Nico Ilamavea. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but 5-star quarterback, was also a very well-noted boys volleyball player.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
You kind of see it grow across the region. It's in East Tennessee.
Okay.
And there's some growth there that's kind of seen it over the past 3-4 years, I want to say.
Okay.
But outside of that, it's kind of just making its way back into Middle Tennessee right now.
Okay. Interesting. I just love to see the kids involved in stuff, and there's so much going on, and so that's why we really wanted to touch on the sports side of it. Now, will you guys also help keep us up to date on what's happening with our cheer squads and things like that? So I know that do y'all cover that? Do you cover that? Is that something you handle?
Not entirely.
Yeah.
You kind
of does, because those girls are athletes.
You're right. They definitely
athletes.
are. That's just one of those things where we run into a situation where, you kind of run into every team winning nationals. It's kind of the joke that goes around with cheerleading and kind of that sport, is that every team makes nationals and every team wins nationals.
Oh, okay.
But
I don't have a cheer person, so I don't.
Yeah, I don't have much of a dog in this fight either.
Yeah.
But, obviously, if a cheer coach were to send us something, or a fan or something were to send us something about a cheer team or a cheer squad that reached some sort of accolade, we would of course include that in our paper.
Okay.
It's just one of those things that maybe kind of gets lost in the woodwork a little bit because they don't have anything local.
Okay.
You kind of just have, they go to the games, sure. But outside of that, all of their events and competitions are
out of town.
Exactly.
Okay, so for those of you who, because we get that question when it comes to the things, that's something we've always gotten in media, and in my career is people are like, well, why don't y'all do anything with cheer? Because they talk about the athletes. Well, there's your answer. And so if you want that, just send it in. Send those things in and make sure that you get that exposure for those students. And that's interesting. Very cool. We're talking with Blaine Kellar. He is with Main Street Media, Robertson County Connection specifically, and he covers our sports, covers the county. And we've been talking about kind of the generalities of wrapping up football and the things that go on throughout the fall and the spring. But right now it's basketball.
Yeah.
And I know we had a big game between Springfield and I guess it was Greenbrier and Springfield that played Friday, right?
Greenbrier and East Robertson.
East Robertson. Oh, that's right. Okay.
But yeah, no.
Jamie talked to me. I know it's a big rivalry, and I could not make it to the game. So who won? I don't even know.
Yeah, on the girls' side, it was actually a sweep for Greenbrier. The girls won 47-35.
Okay.
And then on the boys' side, Greenbrier wins 44-38.
How about that? Awesome, guys. Very good.
So kind of interesting there on Greenbrier. The boys' side, after winning 25 games last year, improves to 4-2. They really did a good job defensively, stopping East Robertson, who won the 1A state championship last year in basketball. But on the girls' side, I thought it was really, really neat to see Greenbrier girls improve to 4-2.
Awesome.
Something they haven't done in a couple of years. And what's most interesting is they're doing it without their head coach, who's on maternity leave at least through mid-December. Mm-hmm. She's missed the entire start of the season. They've got an interim who was the top assistant last year and another assistant that they brought on to kind of lead the team. It's been a new style for the team that they've kind of brought in. I'm not sure if that's, their interim said kind of whatever the head coach says, they're just relaying it to the players.
Gotcha.
But
Interesting.
They've done a really good job without her to start the year, without their coach. And I'll be interested to see if they can keep it up whenever she comes back.
Outstanding. Very good. Well, I think we'll be in a celebratory mood at Greenbrier today because I know I've got to get into a rhythm where I'm getting to some of these games. I'm just so still overwhelmed with all that I'm doing. It's just so hard to find time for the extracurricular stuff right now. But way to go, Greenbrier.
A lot of interesting boys basketball to start this season. I think if you were to look at the three sports between wrestling, boys basketball, and girls basketball, I think boys basketball has a lot of potential to have a really exciting season county-wide. Mm-hmm. Everybody, if I have this, well, outside of East Robertson, everybody is either 500 or better. Springfield is 2-2. Greenbrier is 4-1. White House Heritage is 4-1. Those two teams face off on Tuesday. And Joe Burns is 3-1 as well.
Okay.
So you've got three teams with winning records, one team that's 500, then East Robertson that's 1-3, and of course they're the reigning 1A state champs. They're going to get it figured out. Mm-hmm. So you've got all five teams in the county that really have a possibility to go 500 or better.
What do you mean 500?
500, kind of like if you played 10 games and you were 5-5. Mm-hmm. So just an even record.
Okay.
So you're not losing more games than you're winning. You're not winning more games than you're losing. You're just 500.
Okay. Interesting. I've never heard that term. So, and I played basketball, but that's a new one on me. But I mean, I played in the 70s. So, I mean, it's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. But, and in Kentucky, too. So, I mean, we've had that conversation. So, you were talking about Greenbrier in East Robertson. Are they in the same division?
They are not.
That's what I thought.
Greenbrier is actually 2 classes higher than East Robertson.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Greenbrier competes in 3A. East Robertson competes in 1A.
So what kind of chances do these teams have when it comes to lining up at the state? Do you project that they're doing well now? Do we have some state championship teams that we're looking at? Can Greenbrier make it to state? Can East Robertson make it to state again?
Yeah, you got a long way to go. I mean, none of these teams have even played district games yet, so none of these have really mattered. I think that's what most coaches would tell you, at least. But last year I was proven wrong. I didn't think any of these teams had much of a shot of going beyond at least their region tournament, which is the second round of the postseason, so to speak. And, of course, East Robertson went on and won the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, you got to think that East Robertson, once they get their football players into basketball mode, they'll definitely have a shot of repeating or at least returning to Murfreesboro. I like Joe Burns quite a bit. I think, they brought in a couple of transfers, one from Glencliff, one from Springfield, which is kind of interesting because you don't really have transfers, period, at Joe Burns. But, to bring in 2 guys that can compete and kind of elevate their game a little bit more, I think that's going to make them a contender with East Robertson, at least in their district. White House Heritage is pretty deep senior-wise. Same with Greenbrier. They've got a couple of players that really stick out. But at the end of the day, whenever you look at 1A basketball against 2A with White House Heritage and even 3A with Greenbrier, the level of competition just jumps whenever you get past your district.
Okay.
White House Heritage and Greenbrier have tough districts, but whenever you have to go face Jackson area schools to reach the state tournament, or even face a Summertown or a Loretto in the sectional for 2A, that makes life a heck of a lot more difficult.
Okay.
So I think it would take a lot for White House Heritage or Greenbrier to make a run. I'm not saying it's impossible.
Yeah.
But I think those coaches know they have their work cut out for them come late February.
Okay, interesting. And I mean, basketball is probably the one sport that I understand better than any, just simply because I played for 4 years. So, and it hadn't changed much. Not really. The nuance of the game is still the same. I mean, there's a lot of rule changes and things like that. There's some things I'll go and watch a game now, and they'll do something. I'm like, what are they doing? Oh, this is I'm like, really? And of course I'm one of those from the 70s, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You should just play ball.
Yeah.
Let's not get so many rules in there. Let's just a free for all. But we're talking with Blaine Kellar. He is with the Robeson County Connection and Main Street Media, and he is our guy here in Robeson County, covering the county for sports. Talking about, I'm going to challenge you to bring me some wrestling news. I want to hear about the wrestling.
Oh, we have a lot of. I mean, the only reason we don't have any right now is because the season just kicked off.
Just kicked off. Okay.
We're maybe a week or so into the regular season. My favorite event from wrestling, period, in this county is the Robertson County Cup. It's always really fun to see every team kind of face off.
When does that happen?
I believe it is in the middle of this month.
Okay.
Might be in a week or so.
Okay. I've got a wrestler in my class. I'll talk to Melvis and find out. He'll let me know.
Greenbrier's always got a pretty good team. Springfield won the Robertson County Cup last year. Heritage has got a good team. They're kind of still growing their program from nothing. I believe they're in their third or fourth year of existence, period. So, and I've been told that East Robertson's got a pretty good team, too. They co-op with Joe Burns. So you've got really good wrestling in this area, too, both individually and, team-wide.
Okay.
Last year, I think there were 2 Robertson County wrestlers that made it to the state tournament, one of which being a girl for the first time ever. So
there are. That was going to be a question for me. Is do we have girl wrestling teams and guy wrestling teams, or is it all on the same team?
Yeah, no, there are girl wrestling teams and guy wrestling teams.
Okay,
they're kind of unfairly matched right now, going up against Montgomery County and facing off against some Sumner County schools and Montgomery County schools. Montgomery County, believe it or not, Clarksville is a hotbed for wrestling. You have every year you pretty much have at least 1 or 2 state champions come out of Clarksville, which is weird because you don't have them win much of anything else. But wrestling's what they're good at.
I wonder if it's kind of got a little bit of an echo of the military.
It could be.
With you got a lot of military families up there, and I can see that just mentality of getting in there and doing it yourself, kind of from a soldiering perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I would think that might have an effect.
It makes you curious. Clarksville and Rossview are the 2 big teams, but Montgomery Central's got a really good roster as well every year. They always seem to at least find a way to send numerous people to the state tournament, which, once again, really interesting because they don't really do much. They kind of struggle everywhere else competition-wise.
Interesting. We're talking about all things sports related here in Robeson County. Good stuff. And wrestling is one that I'm going to be very interested in, simply because one of my students involved in it. So I'm gonna be following him and seeing how he does. I bet he does pretty good because he looks like he's got that athleticism on him, and I don't know really what makes a good wrestler, but I'm like, I bet you're good. But anyway, it'll be fun to watch that and fun to watch the basketball season. Just so excited that my Greenbrier Bobcats pulled off some wins on Friday. So
you said it was Melvis, right?
Melvis
Lopez, pretty good wrestler by your intuition. 2 years ago, qualified for the state tournament as a freshman.
Melvis, you rock, buddy. He's a junior.
Yep. So as a freshman, he qualified for the state tournament. He didn't make it last year.
Melvis, rock on.
Really had a breakout season in his first year. So
there you go, buddy.
You guessed it. You guessed it right.
I mean, he's very athletic looking, and I thought, I could see him doing very well.
Yeah.
So, okay, we'll have to play this for him today. He'll just he'll just be all blushed up, be like, oh, you're embarrassing me, Miss Vivio. But anyway, well, very cool. I'm excited. That's one of the coolest things about being a teacher is getting to encourage these kids and see them do these fun things and do these things that just kind of set them apart. So very good. I love it. We're going to continue on. I've still got a couple of ads to do, man. It's already a quarter till. Oh my goodness. I get to, Blaine said, he goes, I don't know what we're going to talk if we've got enough for an hour. I was like, oh yeah, we do. I can talk by myself for an hour. So if I've got a person in here, hey, no problem at all. We talk about everything. All right. We are covering the county for our sports right now. But if you have have any questions, comments, throw them up in our comments, and I will share them with Blaine. But I do want to pause for a second and talk about Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. You need something unique for a gift, why don't you go and check it out? I had Miss Jane. I just love Miss Jane. She does aprons and pot holders and these little bowl cozies for your microwave and all kinds of fun things. So if you want a unique handmade gift, go in there and buy something from Miss Jane's sewing machine. I went and got a Christmas apron, and I got a little bowl cozy and a couple of new hot pads, and just love them. It just makes me think of her. And so if you want something special, go by Corbin Creek Greenhouse and Gifts and see what they have that you will love. And you also need to check out their CBD products. I just rave about this because it's what my hip replacement doctor told me to check into. If I don't want to take pharmaceuticals, he's like, try CBD. And yeah, I did, and it has been just a game changer for me. I've been using it, a year and a half now, I think, and just love it. Can't say enough about it. So if you want a unique gift for somebody and you think it might really help them, a good chance to introduce them to it. They've got gummies, and they've got coffees, and they've got the oil. I use the oil, but Amy can fill you in on all the science behind it, because this is Robertson County CBD. It's produced from plants that her brother Bill grows, and that's what they use to, they make the salves and things like that right there in the kitchen. She and Miss Jane do. Just good stuff. You need to go and talk to them today. They're open still 7 days a week. Their hours have been reduced from the summer. They're 10 to 4 right now. Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday they're open from 1 to 4. So you can get by there and see them. And if for some reason you need to call them and you can't get there during those hours, just give her a call. She'll meet you. We'll figure it out. 615-384-3185, 615-384-3185. They're at 4920 Highway 161 in Springfield. And when you call them, let them know that I sent you, and tell them you turned said, hey, thank them for being one of our longtime sponsors here at One Street Over. Blaine Kellar is in the house with us from Main Street Media, Robertson County Connection. So what do we need to cover still? What have we not covered?
I've almost checked all of my boxes.
Okay.
I'm not sure what else I can add on here. We covered basketball. I guess we could touch a little bit on the girls' side. We didn't talk too much about girls' basketball in the county. Springfield, kind of an interesting team to watch out for early. This is a team that's constantly been a doormat or in the gutter of girls basketball, especially in Robertson County. But they've kind of been okay so far. You know, they've got a couple of players. Tanaya Partey's a really solid forward for them. Kylie Bradley, I hope I'm saying that right, has a couple of offers to play college ball.
Oh, wow.
Smaller schools, but still impressive nonetheless that she's getting looked at.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they've got a really impressive freshman in Sharmaria Pope. They're 2-2 right now, and you know that's not great. But they've beaten White House Heritage. They beat Sycamore. That's 2 impressive wins to open the year. Outside of that, you know you've got some teams that are struggling to open the year. I know we mentioned Greenbrier a little bit, and that's a team that's had some success. But the team that I thought was tops in the county, East Robertson, 0-4, hasn't picked up a win yet, despite having what a lot of people would call a breakout season last year. They looked really good, but they haven't figured it out yet. Joe Burns, under a new coach, is winless. They're 0-3. They probably pick up their first win tomorrow, though. You know, that's a team that lost a lot of talent from last year. So I think it might take a while for Joe Burns to pick up the pieces. I think East Robertson figures it out. White House Heritage is 1-4 under their new coach. So you've got a lot of teams that are struggling right now outside of Springfield and Greenbrier, which quite honestly should be flipped on its head. You know, normally Springfield and Greenbrier are the 2 teams that struggle, and Heritage, Joe Burns, and East Robertson are at least competitive. So kind of interesting looking at that dynamic early on in the county. A lot of new coaches, though. I mean, you know, Greenbrier with their interim, that technically counts as a first-year coach. White House Heritage has a first-year coach. Joe Burns is a first-year coach. So a lot of changing of the guard, if you will, in girls basketball in the county. So it'll be interesting to see if they kind of piece it together as the season goes along. But, you know, you might have a down year in girls basketball a little bit here.
Okay, very good. And talking about all things that are Robertson County connected, and the girls' basketball always near and dear to me. I've got one of the girl basketball players in one of my classes, so it's going to be interesting to see what she does. And she's still pretty young, but it's always fun just to watch them, and come up through and do the things that they do. Do you know much about the soccer and things? I know right now my students we'll see them watching the World Cup, right?
The World Cup.
Oh, yeah. I had, honestly and truthfully, and they're not supposed to have their phones. We use our phones in audio video for production reasons. So we will use our phones in class sometimes, but there was a moratorium on no cell phones. So we do use them, though, to go get video, and then we'll use them for production and things like that. And I had one of my students that had his head in his phone, and I thought he was working on some kind of a production thing. And all of a sudden, he reaches up, and I thought he punched one of the other kids, and they're both Latino students. And what it was is he was, Mexico won. I was like, hey, what are you on? What are you watching there? But I got tickled at him because I did. For a minute, I thought that something nefarious was going on, and they were just excited. And I got so tickled at him. But I'm like, yeah, you're not supposed to be watching that on your phone. You're supposed to be working on your project. But
I spent a little bit of time watching the World Cup last week. I think most Americans, watching the win against Iran was really nice to see. Not so good against the Netherlands, but it's still a pretty big gap, I think, for Team USA to close that. Regardless, there is still some soccer news in Robertson County that we can touch on a little bit. So let's tie that in.
Okay, there you go.
Last week, Greenbrier and Christian Community both named new coaches. Greenbrier, who lost Jonathan Sutton last year, he went on to good pasture. They announced Stephanie Howard and Mark Thompson as the newest coaches. I believe it's a co-coach situation. They're both from White House Youth Soccer in that organization.
I didn't know Stephanie was going to be doing that.
Yeah, that's what they told me last week.
Okay,
so.
yeah.
Any information you can give us on Stephanie?
She's awesome. Just say that. She's just awesome. And, she's one of our counselors. And she's just awesome, and so she will be a lot of fun. Yeah, she's. I've gotten to know her because we're both newbies at the school, and she's gonna be fun. That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. I will pull her aside and see what kind of see if I can get a little more info from her.
Get the inside scoop.
Get the inside. Okay.
What I've got is that Mark Thompson is White House Youth Soccer's director of recreation. Stephanie Howard is the coordinator for students between the ages of 4 and 6.
Okay.
The other coach that was announced, Riley Lawyer for Christian Community Schools, a White House native coming back after spending a couple of years at Bryan College playing soccer there. He graduated from Aaron Academy, which is another one of those day spring academy type schools here in Robertson County. And he has been the academy director for Wilson United Soccer Club in Wilson County for a little while. So interesting hire there. He's a younger guy. I don't think he's much older than me.
Okay.
So that'll be a fun challenge leading a private school soccer team. But that, last year I didn't hear too much about Christian Community Soccer in the spring. That's a bit of a scramble overall, trying to figure out what's happening where and which teams to look out for during the spring. So it'll be exciting to see what he does in his first season too. Excited for both of those teams. Greenbrier had a really good season last year.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm going to have to go in and find out about this because I had no idea that was happening. So I'm sure they sent me an email along with the thousands that I get every week, and it's just like you kind of your eyes glaze over and you miss little details like that. But
right.
I will find out. I'll let you know.
There we go.
I'll let you know on that. I tell you, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was really the last move in a long coaching carousel that we had in Robertson County this offseason. A couple of coaches stepping down and finishing their tenure. White House Heritage's Chris Lockton probably being the biggest of which. Greenbrier had a new baseball coach come in.
Right.
Springfield had a new basketball coach come in. White House Heritage, Joe Burns had new basketball coaches, as we just discussed. There were a lot of different coaching changes that happened this offseason, and I'm really excited that the connection covered just about every single one of them.
Very good.
Yeah, that normally only happens at the college level. At the college level, you'll have a lot of, a beat reporter covering a lot of coaching changes. But with 6 area high schools and then 2 private schools, you don't expect every coaching change to kind of get covered, but really excited that our team was able to do that this offseason.
I love what you guys do at the Connection and at Main Street Media. It is so nice because I don't care how technical we get with our social media and the digital aspect of it. There's something still about a kid seeing their picture in the paper.
Yeah.
There's just something about it. And it's still a big deal. I still have the clippings from the 70s when I was in the newspaper.
Wow.
I mean, seriously. And they look pretty ragged. But, I mean, it's just something it's just fun. And I just really am thankful that we have that medium here. And you're doing an excellent job.
Well, thank you. I think the impact of a local paper really touches just about every family, I'd be willing to say, especially in a small community. I can think of my dad, who was a semi-professional bowler in his younger days. And I didn't know this until, I think, last spring when I was digging through some storage crates that he had. He had newspaper clippings from his events that he bowled in,
Nice.
when bowling was kind of a big deal. And it's really interesting to see that as a newspaper reporter now.
That's fabulous.
Finding newspaper clippings of, your family and what they did in their younger days. I'm just a junkie for it. I think it's really, a lot of people care about it, and I think it kind of acts as a keepsake almost.
Yeah.
For further generations to see what you did.
Yeah.
Before you got to where you are now.
I think that's wonderful, and I'm just so glad that we've been able to bring an aspect of sports and everything into the radio station, and it's going to be fun to watch this build because we're just getting started with it. So, be sure and tune in first Mondays, and then on 7 to 7:30 on Thursdays, it's going to be a locked-in slot for us to cover the county and what's going on, what basketball games are going on. I wouldn't have I don't know about what's going on in sports unless somebody comes and tells me, because I'm not somebody that really follows it, but I care about it because I know what these kids put into it, and I want to encourage them. While I'm not a big sports junkie like you are, I still am so excited because I think it's such an important aspect of what it's so important for the activity, especially with all the sedentary life that so many lead now. If we can push encourage our children to get involved in at least one sport just to get them moving. Cannot say enough about it.
Absolutely.
Cannot say enough about it.
I think just staying active is a big deal today, especially when we talk about, a couple minutes ago, we were talking about social media and how much of an impact that has on our lives now. If we're not careful, we can sit on our bed or on a chair all day and just stay on Facebook, stay on TikTok, stay on Twitter. Good. And, if we can get kids active, and I think the paper kind of helps with that.
Yes, it does.
If you get recognition for what you're doing, you want to keep doing it.
Absolutely.
So because then your friends see it, and because otherwise people might not see it, and people don't see it, people don't care. If people don't care, kids might not want to do it.
Outstanding. I love it. And what? Sometime we need to talk about how that the paper is delivered versus how it used to be. That would be a fun little nostalgia thing we could touch on. It's not sports related, but my husband was a paper boy up in Michigan from like 6 or 7 years old. I mean, he was super young and delivered the paper for years and years and years. And so he was at a paper. Yeah, he was on his bike, and wow. He was big time paper boy for years, and started super young because he was the baby in the family, and once his brother gave it up, he took it over. But I got to do an ad, and we're just 2 minutes. See, I told you we'd have stuff to talk about. My goodness, we got to talk about something I'm so excited about. Cumberland Connect is now a 5-day-a-week sponsor. We had to Veterans Motorplex, of course, their season's over, so we had some availability pop up, and they have jumped on it because they know I love talking about them. I'm so excited about Cumberland Connect. I can't hardly stand it because I did a bunch of Christmas mini pictures. I had to go to the radio station and use the internet here to be able to do my Dropbox stuff because I could not transfer the pictures from my house because my internet's terrible, and it's not going to be much longer. By the time I get ready for spring picks, I'll be able to do all that work from my home office, and I am so excited about it because I am a Cumberland Electric customer, and I've already got the wire hanging on the pole out there, and they're saying end of the year, first of next. I'm just really weeks away from getting high-speed internet, and we're talking 1,000 megabits per second for $80. That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting, y'all. A gig, and I'm canceling AT&T. I get like a an upload speed of like 3 right now, or a download. I mean, it's terrible. My friend Gwen Harder, they've had a 1, and they're turning off AT&T, I think, this week and going with Cumberland Connect. That's what's happening. If you're a Cumberland Electric customer and you've been one of those like us that have had terrible connectivity, the wait is over. It's coming your way. If you want to know more, go to cumberlandconnect.org, put in your zip code, follow them, stay up to date on when they're going to be in your neighborhood. If you need more information, you can go to workshops. You can go to www.cumberlandconnect.org/workshops. Go to the workshops and find out everything you need to know about what a gig means to your household. And in this social media driven world, and that's how we get all of our entertainment and our information and our sports, you need it. Go and talk to them today. Reach out to them, cumberlandconnect.org, for all of your internet needs. And when you get a hold of them, let them know that you sent you. And we do appreciate them sponsoring our little show, One Street Over. Thank you, Blaine, again, for spending the hour with me. And we will be here. Absolutely. And we'll see you again that Thursday slot. Always, whenever Jamie's in here, I think he wouldn't mind you sliding in here and talking to him and giving us an update. So, awesome. Thank you guys for joining us here on One Street Over. We're going to hear from one of my students again tomorrow that's going to come in. And that'll be a lot of fun. And then on Wednesday, we have got Armed Services Day. That is when you'll hear from Terry Wilson. He'll be in here from our Veteran Service Officer. So a lot of good stuff coming up here on One Street Over. Thank you for joining us. God bless. Have a wonderful day. And happy birthday, Mark. Love you, darling. Bye.